Hello, I'm coming out with a quick video, something that was on my mind that I felt the need to share. And it's in regards to this ideal that the majority of people in the public are good people, will always be good people, and will, come up to the plate whenever there's a situation of injustice that they witness personally. Specifically, like to use an example, say if they were witnessing uh, a vulnerable person being persecuted in some kind of manner, maybe name called or pushed or bullied in some manner, that they would come to their aid and come to their defense. There is a big problem with holding that belief. The problem is it doesn't bear up to evidence and history. Um, there's what's called in sociology and the social sciences a term called the fundamental attributional error. You'll hear it if you listen to Steve Hassan, who's like a cult expert, quote unquote cult expert, and from Philip Zimbardo, who studies social psychology. And basically, what it states and what's shown through history and through study after study is most people will go along with whoever is the authority figure that they see. If the authority figure, from a moral standpoint, acts in a good way, in a moral way, then the majority of people will go along in that moral direction. However, if the perceived authority figure, or whether it be a government or local law enforcement or whatever, if they are moving in a direction that is immoral, say in a brutal fashion or a fashion that is obviously not uh, up to the moral standards that are conceived as normal at the time, the majority of the public is going to go along with that too. They feel people are social beings, and they feel comfortable going along with the majority, regardless of what direction they go in. Since the election uh, for presidency, 2000, November 2016, you may have noticed, if you're awake, you may have noticed that there were hundreds of incidents of hate crimes against vulnerable people that are categorized as vulnerable in this society. Um, whether it's a so-called immigrant population or Muslim population or what's perceived as minority in the U.S., they've experienced bullying from children all the way up to adults, physical violence, ridicule, graffiti. So there's been a variety of uh, violent or discriminatory incidents recently, and that's because those people felt that's the way the majority was going. The authority, basically, the person who was elected feels that it's okay to mistreat people. So those that are capable, easily influenced to mistreat people, are actually exercising that. They're actually doing it. And what you're also noticing is you have many witnesses that are obviously witnessing the mistreatment, and they're not doing anything. They're just standing idly by, watching, passive, watching mistreatment, watching what I would deem as evil, and just they're watching it. Now, if you have the ability to stop mistreatment from a moral standpoint, that's your duty to stop it. However, if you have the ability to stop it and you allow it to continue, then you are complicit in that evil, in that mistreatment. So, in this picture that I have on the screen, and it took me a while to get to it, but I just wanted to point out this is from a series called The Nazi Death Squads that's on Netflix. Um, you'll notice there's an emaciated person laying on the sidewalk who's actually, I believe, to be dead or near death. And you'll notice the legs, feet of multiple people just walking by, not doing anything. Nobody's checking the person to see if they're okay, calling an ambulance, seeking to their, assuming that, taking into account if there's a risk that the person may be dead. They're not taking any kind of action at all. Now, from a moral standpoint, that would seem kind of odd, or you would be questioning why aren't they doing it. But if you study social sciences, if you understand how people think and how they operate, you'll understand that this is not uncommon. If the dominant society allows it, the people in charge of that dominant society, the majority of the populace will go along with it, regardless. So all this talk about, hey, there are good people out there. There are some good non-racist white people out there. Regardless of whether they claim to be non-racist or not, or claim to good people or not, I can pretty much guarantee if there is an incident, a racial incident, and you're outnumbered, they are not going to stand by your side and to your defense. 9 times out of 10, that is not going to happen. Actually, it's more than that. It's like 90, 98 out of 100 times. They're not going to help you. So you definitely do not need to put your faith in anybody who's claiming that's a part of the dominant group, that's claiming to be good or moral or not racist or anything like that, because evidence hasn't proven that to be true. They do not come to people's aid when they're put under pressure or when they're experiencing mistreatment. They just, at best, they idly stand by and just observe. Now, obviously that's a little troubling. I mean, that somebody who's claiming to be your friend or claiming to be a good person doesn't come to your aid. But really pay attention when you hear of mistreatment, when you hear of crimes of a racial nature or a nature of hate. Ask yourself, did anybody intervene? Did anybody, come to the defense of the victim? And you'll notice that majority of the time it's not. I challenge you to look through news articles and see if anybody came to the defense. If you can send me any articles, as many as you can, I would gladly appreciate it. You can put it in the comments below, put a link in the comments below. But you have to, I'm going to factor that into the total amount of crimes committed. And, I, unfortunately, after researching the social sciences over the past 2 years, most people will witness mistreatment before their eyes and won't do a damn thing about it. So do not trust. If you're part of a vulnerable population, don't trust members of the dominant group that they're going to protect you and come to your aid. That is foolhardy. You're taking a risk with your safety, putting your faith in somebody who has absolutely nothing to gain socially by helping you. So just wanted to put that out. I'm going to also put a review of the Nazi death squads. It was very illuminating. A lot of stuff came out from, it was people's firsthand experience. Both victims and victimizers were in this particular series. And that's another thing I found out, that most Nazis did not go to prison. Most went back to their normal jobs or collaborated with Nazis. Most of the people who were out there murdering people did not go to prison or were executed. So it kind of, opened my eyes to why you see a rise in Nazism in Eastern Europe, because they were there during World War II, which I didn't know that as well. So I'm going to put a review on the next video of the Nazi doctors, just to kind of give you my perspective on what I've learned from it, and things that I see that occurred then that are being paralleled today, as far as the propaganda and the hate that's being ginned up. So I just wanted to leave this to you. Don't trust people from the dominant group that they're going to help you out, because the majority of the time it's not going to happen. Hopefully it'll be something to be be able to protect yourself. Talk to you soon.